Hello, and welcome to this video on the study by Hassett et al. On monkey toy preferences. Before I go on, I just want to mention that a transcript of this video, as well as a tutorial on how to answer typical exam questions that could be asked on this topic, are available. Details in the description below. This is Teddy. He was given to me on the day I was born, so he's quite old now. When I was a little boy, I didn't play with him very much. I far preferred my toy cars. But I do remember attempting to give Teddy a haircut with a pair of nail scissors when I was about 5. And as you can imagine, that did not go down well with my mother. Now that Teddy and I are older, he's become very special to me, mainly due to the connection with my late mother. You see, not only did she sew clothing for him, like these pajamas that you can see he's wearing here, but she also lovingly repaired various parts of his body as he gradually succumbed to the wear and tear of play. So she sewed new eyes, she put buttons in for eyes when those were lost, and she created a new nose and mouth for him, and paws. So that's why he is so special to me. He reminds me of my mom. And that brings me to the topic of this video, which is male and female toy preferences. It's general knowledge that boys tend to play with so-called masculine toys like cars and trucks, and girls have a broader range of interests, although they tend to prefer plush toys like dolls and other soft toys. Could that be because of socialization? Or is it innate? That's what Hassett et al. Wanted to investigate in the study we're looking at today. But before going on, I want to mention that this question slots into the biological approach to psychology, which is that behavior, cognitions, and emotions can be explained in terms of the working of the brain and the effect of hormones, genetics, and evolution. And of course, we're looking at the nature versus nurture debate here. Research suggests that socialization processes such as parents or peers encouraging children to play with gender-specific toys are often considered the main influence shaping the differences in toy preferences between boys and girls. However, there is an alternative view, and that is that toy preferences may actually reflect biologically determined preferences for certain activities, which then are facilitated by specific toys. So, if children weren't exposed to toys generally considered appropriate for their sex, and they weren't encouraged to play with them by significant adults, peers, and the advertising media, would they still choose toys based on traditional gender norms or not? Logistically and probably ethically, conducting a study to find the answer to that question using children as subjects would be extremely difficult for a variety of reasons, which I won't go into here. So,
enter the monkeys.
Why? If activity preferences shape toy preferences, could male and female monkeys show toy preferences similar to those seen in boys and girls? To explore this, Hassett and her team compared the interactions of rhesus monkeys with 2 types of human toys. Hassett's hypothesis was that toy preferences reflect hormonally influenced behavioral and cognitive biases, which are then sculpted by social processes into the sex differences seen in monkeys and humans. Simply put, it's nature before nurture. Let's look at how Hassett's experiment was set up. The subjects were 34 rhesus monkeys, consisting of 11 males and 23 females, out of a population of 135 at the Yerkes National Primate Research Center. 14 monkeys were excluded due to having had prenatal hormonal treatments, as well as 39 newborns. The monkeys had no previous exposure to human toys, And that was key to the experiment because it eliminated any possibility of learned preferences. The independent variable was the sex of the monkeys, and the dependent variables were, firstly, the frequency of interaction with the toys. That is, how often each monkey interacted with each toy. And two, the duration of interaction with the toys, being how long each monkey interacted with each toy. And then three, the magnitude of preference score was calculated. The toys were categorized by specific object properties that made them comparable to stereotypical gender assignments. Thus, one set of toys was wheeled, being the most comparable to masculine vehicle toys which can be manipulated, and the other was plush, most comparable to feminine doll and stuffed animal toys that can be cradled. The 7 plush toys were Winnie the Pooh, Raggedy Ann, a koala bear hand puppet, an armadillo, a teddy bear, Scooby-Doo, and a turtle. The sizes ranged in length from about 14 centimeters to 73 centimeters. The 6 wheeled toys were a wagon, a truck, a car, a construction vehicle, a shopping cart, and a dump truck. These ranged in length from 16 to 46 centimeters. Both the plush and wheeled toys varied considerably in shape and color as well. So it can be seen that even the sizes, shapes, and colors of the various toys were taken into account so that these aspects would not influence choices. The procedure was carefully controlled to ensure that only the toy preference variable was being measured. 7 25-minute trials were conducted in a large indoor-outdoor enclosure that housed the social group. Before each trial, the subjects and other group members were kept indoors, while one wheeled and one plush toy were placed 10 meters apart. And this was in the outdoor living area. The location of the toys, whether left or right, was alternated across trials. Once prepared, the monkeys were released into the outdoor area, and separate cameras recorded interactions with each toy. The identity of the animals interacting with the toys and their specific behaviors were recorded from the video footage by 2 observers who worked together to agree on both animals' identities and their actions. The analysis included each individual's social rank and age. Rank had been determined beforehand through detailed observations of grooming, dominance, and submission behaviors. Let's look at the results. Male monkeys showed a significant preference for masculine-typed toys, that is, the wheeled vehicles. They chose them more often than the plush toys and spent more time playing with these objects, engaging in behaviors like pushing or rolling them. Female monkeys exhibited a more balanced preference. While they interacted with both toy types, they spent a little more time with the feminine-typed toys, that is, the plush dolls, often holding or manipulating them in a gentler manner. This pattern mirrors human children, where boys typically prefer vehicles and active play, while girls have a wider range of interests, including both active and nurturing play. Let's take a moment to look at ethics, which are very important in psychological research. The experiment with the rhesus monkeys was conducted in accordance with the National Institutes of Health Guide for the Care and Use of Laboratory Animals, and under the Environmental Enrichment Management Protocol of the Yerkes National Primate Research Center, approved by Emory University's Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee. Now to the strengths and weaknesses, together with more details about the study. Firstly, the strengths. As I've mentioned, the monkeys had no prior exposure to human toys or societal influences, ensuring that any observed preferences were innate and not learned. The experiment was very carefully operationalized, from the detailed setup to the meticulous data collection procedure, which ensured that there was little chance that extraneous variables could creep in. Also, the data collected were quantitative and therefore reliable, being mechanically recorded and processed using Palm Pilots equipped with a program designed for entering time-stamped behavioral information and according to a 15-statement checklist. By way of example, 5 of those are on the screen at the moment. You can see how specific they are. The fact that 2 observers analyzed the data ensured inter-rater reliability, and this is also a strength. So we can see that the rigorous procedures and data collection methods used in the experiment ensured not only the collection of high-quality data, but also made it easy for the experiment to be replicated, and that's another strength. Now to the weaknesses. They are pretty hard to find, but if I stretch my thinking a little bit, I come up with 3. It could be said that 34 monkeys is a relatively small sample size, and that larger groups could provide more robust data. It could also be argued that because only 2 categories of toys were used, the full range of toy preferences or behaviors in either monkeys or humans may not be represented. And a third weakness may be that while rhesus monkeys share some behavioral traits with humans, caution must be exercised in generalizing these findings to humans, because monkeys and humans are not the same, mostly. So, in conclusion, the results suggest that toy preferences in rhesus monkeys, like those in human children, very likely have a biological basis rather than being purely the result of socialization. Since these monkeys had no prior exposure to human toys or societal expectations, the study supports the idea that males and females may be biologically predisposed to different kinds of play, and that these predispositions link to toy preferences. It's posited that toy preferences could be linked to evolutionary factors. In wild settings, male primates tend to engage in more rough and tumble play, which may be related to developing physical skills necessary for competition, while female primates may engage in more nurturing behaviors, perhaps linked to future caregiving roles. If you found that useful, please give it a like and subscribe for more content. And remember to look in the description to find out how you can get more valuable help. Thank you for watching.